unexpected turn reveals the shocking aftermath of Jack's affair. As Lily seeks comfort in Eva, Jack grapples with the pain of his actions. This chapter explores the complex dynamics of relationships post-betrayal, offering a glimpse into Lily and Eva's growing bond. The narrative leaves readers eager to discover how Jack copes with his new reality.
Chapter 4. My wife is now sleeping with my ex-lover. Sitting alone in the quiet of what used to be our home, my thoughts race in a maelstrom of regret and disbelief. It's been weeks since Lily left to stay with Eva, and every day without her feels like a punishment I rightly deserve. But what twists the knife in my gut is knowing where she is, in the arms of Eva, the very woman I betrayed her with. The irony is bitter, and it tastes like ash in my mouth. Lily, my beautiful, understanding wife, seeking solace where I least expected, with Eva. I can't blame her, though. After all, it was my betrayal that pushed her there. Sometimes late at night, I imagine them together, finding comfort in each other's presence. The thought is a strange mix of pain and something like hope. Hope that Lily finds the happiness I denied her, even if it's not with me. But the pain is relentless. It's the pain of loss, of squandered trust, of a love that I tarnished. It's funny, in a tragic sort of way. I remember how it all started. A harmless flirtation, a rush of excitement, a forbidden touch. It felt like a game, a thrilling escape from the mundane. But I never imagined the cost would be so high. The price of my fleeting pleasure is a lifetime of regret. I've reached out to Eva a few times since Lily left, desperate for some connection, some semblance of what we had. But it's not the same. Our conversations are strained, filled with unspoken words and guilt. I can tell she's as torn as I am. She lost her best friend because of what we did, and now that same friend is the only solace she has. Work has become my only refuge, the one place where I can drown out the noise in my head. But even there, I'm a shadow of the man I used to be. My colleagues tread lightly around me, their curious glances a constant reminder of the man I've become. A man lost in his own mess. It's on one of those long, endless nights at the office that I decide to drive past Eva's place. I tell myself it's just to see if Lily's car is there, to know if she's all right. But deep down, I know I'm looking for something else, a glimpse of the life I threw away. As I drive by, I see them, Lily and Eva sitting together on the porch, their heads close, lost in conversation. They look happy, peaceful even. It's a stark contrast to the turmoil in my heart. I park a little way down the street, watching them from a distance. It feels like I'm spying on a world where I no longer belong. The urge to go to them is overwhelming. I want to get out of the car, walk up to them, and beg Lily to come back, to tell her that I'm sorry, that I'd do anything to undo what I've done. But I don't. I can't. I've caused enough pain. So I sit there, in the car, watching the only two people I've ever loved find solace in each other. And as I drive away, the weight of what I've lost settles deep in my chest. That night, back at home, I pour myself a drink, the first of many. The house is silent, a stark reminder of the emptiness of my life without Lily. I wander from room to room, each space filled with memories of better times, of laughter and love, now just echoes of what used to be. I end up in our bedroom, standing in front of the mirror. The man staring back at me is a stranger. His eyes are hollow, his face gaunt. He's a man who's lost everything, his wife, his lover, his self-respect. And for what? A few moments of passion, a thrill. The realization hits me like a physical blow. I've ruined 3 lives, mine, Lily's, and Ava's. And there's no going back. There's no making it right. As I sink into bed, the loneliness is overwhelming. It's in these quiet, dark moments that the magnitude of my mistakes comes crashing down on me. I close my eyes, but sleep doesn't come. It's just me and my regrets, a constant reminder of the price of betrayal.